of the see-through plastic coffin. And then this coffin was lowered into the
Oh, like I remember hearing about this, bro. I remember hearing about this because I think like I'm like they gonna fill it up with dirt, like being like whatever. But then the I'm guessing the coffin collapsed inside. I'm guessing from the pressure of the dirt or whatever they about to fill it up with, and he ended up dying in that joint. I swear, bro. Hold on, bro. Oh, what it do? SRT gang. It's your boy with the fat swaggy reacts, and we are back with another reaction video, man. And we spinning the block again on another Mr. Ballen video, man, because he dropped one for us again today. So y'all already know I had to come and spin the block and give you guys another reaction. Like y'all know these videos be dope. Mr. Ballen be coming up with some crazy stories. Know what I'm saying? But today we're gonna be checking out horrific accident caught on live TV. Now, like we've seen some crazy stuff happen on live TV before on this channel. If you guys want me to do more, like, you know, embarrassing things caught on camera, whatever, like, you feel me? Like, let me know down in the comment section, and I'll definitely, like, check it out. But y'all see the, the rest of it, like, for mature audiences only. So y'all already know what to expect in this one, bro. If y'all got a weak stomach, just go ahead and just kick off the video now. If you don't, kick back, relax, and let's get scared. You feel me? So without further ado, man, like, shouts out to Mr. Ballen once again. If you guys like these type of videos, I drop one of these every night at 11 p.m., man. So hit that subscribe button and join the family, man. So let's get into it, yo. Let's get into it. Oh yeah, 200 likes on the video, and follow me on TikTok. Let's get it.
The only way to do this story justice, in my opinion, is to include the graphic video footage. And so we have done that, so viewer discretion is advised. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once or twice every week. So if that's of interest to you, please ask the like button to play a very casual game of chess with you, and then proceed to beat them with the Fool's Mate. Also, please subscribe.
Yes, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not a fan of chess. So I'm pretty sure I'll lose to the like button. Yeah.
Subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story. On January 27th, 1908, a 34-year-old handcuffed man walked out from behind the curtain to a cheering crowd inside of a theater in St. Louis, Missouri. This was
and this is like magicians, right? And like, bro, like I've seen a lot of stuff on like TV, like world's craziest, you know, magic tricks like caught on camera, but turned out like someone accidentally like lost their life. Like, that's some horrific shit right there when it comes to, like, you just turning a trick until you actually, like, losing your life. Like, that's crazy to me, bro. But, let's continue.
Behind the curtain.
Cause didn't, like Houdini or something like that pass away or something like that from doing a stunt? Or something like that? I mean, I could be wrong, but let me know down in the comment section. I could be wrong, but let me know.
To a cheering crowd inside of a theater in St. Louis, Missouri. This was going to be this man's first ever live performance, but he did not seem nervous. Next to this man on stage was this comically oversized milk can that was filled to the brim with water. Once the audience had stopped clapping and had calmed down and taken their seats, this man on stage turned to face this milk can and then climbed up this small ladder and then lowered himself feet first into this can. And as he he did, his body displaced water from the can, causing it to spill over onto the stage. And then once almost all of his lower half was submerged in water and the audience could only see his face, this man looked over at his assistants in the wings of this theater and kind of gestured to them that he was ready to start. And so the assistants come running out into the middle of the stage and they immediately close the lid of this milk can over this guy, pushing his head down into the water. And so as the audience is gasping and collectively holding their breath, the assistants proceed to lock this lid with 6 different locks around the top. And then they wheeled over this cabinet that kind of collapsed around the can.
Yeah, like, and we seen this stunt done before with like Chris Angel, just other like different type of magicians, bruh. And like, bruh, I'm telling you, like, this is why they practice and take like safety precautions, like with these tricks nowadays, because literally it can go wrong in a matter of seconds. Like one wrong movement or like, know what I'm saying, anything could just end it all. Know what I'm saying? So that's why, like I mean, like nowadays you don't really see that much like magicians doing tricks like this nowadays. It's more like card tricks, this, that, and the third. You feel me? So yeah, let's continue.
On the top, and then they wheeled over this cabinet that kind of collapsed around the can, so it was totally out of view of the audience. Now, for this audience, they had never seen anything like this before, and so immediately they all began murmuring and whispering to each other, wondering how this guy is going to survive what he's doing. But 2 minutes after that lid had been sealed, that 34-year-old man emerged from behind the cabinet with his hands open wide, so he wasn't handcuffed, totally unharmed. And then the cabinet was moved aside and the audience could see the lid of this milk can was still locked. During his lifetime, nobody could ever figure out how the great magician Harry Houdini had escaped that milk can.
Harry Houdini. Didn't I tell y'all? I told y'all, Harry Houdini. Something Houdini, because I remember it growing up, hearing the name growing up, bro. Like Houdini, you know what I'm saying? Wow, bro.
Figure out how the great magician Harry Houdini had escaped that milk can. These dangerous stunts made Harry extremely famous, and it's why we still know him today, nearly 100 years after his death. But it wasn't just that he was able to successfully perform these stunts, it was his attitude while he performed these stunts that made him so notable. He really just came off as being totally fearless, that he was willing to do just about any stunt. But that wasn't actually true. There was one stunt that Harry was absolutely terrified of. Now, he would eventually work up the courage to attempt this particular stunt, but while he was doing it, he panicked and he had to be rescued by his assistants. And after that, he never tried it again. And for decades, nobody else tried it either. Because, I mean, if Harry Houdini can't perform this stunt, then certainly no one else can either. But in 1990, a daring 32-year-old man named Joe Burris decided he would be the person who would finally conquer this infamous stunt. Joe was a small-time children's magician in Fresno, California, but deep down, he had always believed that someday he would be the next Harry Houdini. In fact, he would actually tell his family that not only would he be the next Harry Houdini, but he would be even better than Harry Houdini. And so that year, he decided it was finally time to make that dream a reality. And so he saw performing this infamous stunt as a way to make that happen. So on Halloween night of that year, so October 31st, Joe, adorned in his white tuxedo, along with his 2 young sons and his parents, they arrive at Blackbeard's Family Fun Center, which was an amusement park in Fresno, California. The family hopped out of the white limousine that Joe had arranged to bring them there, and they began walking across the parking lot to this big crowd of people. And when this big crowd of people saw Joe walking towards them, they all began to cheer. Joe's stunt that he was about to perform that night had been very heavily advertised, mostly by Joe, and so it had become this spectacle in Fresno. It was going to be aired live on TV while he was doing it, and it was going to be broadcast on a radio station. So after Joe and his family make it over to this big crowd, Joe walks to the front and he climbs up on this impromptu stage and he gives this impassioned speech to his audience about how he's going to be the one who takes on this stunt and becomes the next Harry Houdini. And then afterwards, he looks over at his assistants, all these guys that are around him, and he gestures to them that he's ready to begin. And so with all these TV cameras rolling, the assistants walk up to Joe and they begin shackling his wrists and they put these chains around his body, and then they lifted him up and put him inside of the see-through plastic coffin. And then this coffin was lowered into the
like I remember hearing about this, bro. I remember hearing about this because I think like they gonna fill it up with dirt, like being like whatever. But then I'm guessing the coffin collapsed inside. I'm guessing from the pressure of the dirt or whatever they about to fill it up with, and he ended up dying in that joint. I swear, bro. Hold on, bro. Let's continue though.
Of the see-through plastic coffin. And then this coffin was lowered into the 7-foot pre-dug hole that was right nearby. Once Joe gave the signal that he was ready to go, they would fill this hole in, and the stunt that he would perform would be to escape being buried alive. Houdini had attempted this by being buried under 6 feet of dirt, and he had managed to get out of his coffin, but then he just could not get through the dirt and began to panic, and had it not been for his assistants literally reaching into the dirt and pulling him out, Houdini would have died. Joe, apparently, a year earlier, had attempted some sort of practice run of this stunt. It was not the full amount of dirt. It was some smaller amount of dirt, and he had managed to get out. And so he was really confident in himself. And so for this big televised event, he had decided to really up the ante and make sure it was clear he was not only as good as Houdini, but better than Houdini. And so he was going to have 3 feet of dirt put on his coffin first, and then 4 feet of wet cement put in on top of that.
No. Cement, bro. Cement. Come on, man.
Many people, when they heard this plan, both the TV personalities, the radio personalities, onlookers, they said this was a terrible idea and you shouldn't do it. But Joe was extremely confident and brushed them off and said, I know what I'm doing.
You know, Houdini failed at this and he was only using dirt.
Once Joe was in his coffin at the bottom of this 7-foot hole, he looked up at his assistants standing over the grave waiting for a signal, and he gave it to them and kind of shouted up to them that he was ready. And so his team very excitedly began shoveling dirt into the hole. But after only a couple of minutes, when less than a couple of feet had been put in the hole, they heard Joe yelling out from inside of the coffin. And so everything stopped, the staff jumped in, and they pulled the dirt out until they could finally get the lid of the coffin off. And they found Joe. He was alive, but he was very shaken up, and he kind of sat up and said, yeah, the chain around my neck is too tight. You got to readjust the chain. Now, all these onlookers at this event, they heard Joe say this, and they saw him, and their read on this situation was not that his neck chain was too tight, but rather, it looks like Joe might have bitten off more than he can chew. That this stunt is way more dangerous, and maybe he's realizing that, and he's looking for excuses to not do the stunt. And so the onlookers, they didn't try to egg him on to do it anyways. They started feeling apprehension too, and so everybody who was there began telling Joe, hey man, get out, don't do this now, this is a really bad...
Bro, like, it's not worth it, bro, at the end of the day, bro. Yes, I understand you want to be one of the greatest magicians, bro, but even Houdini himself had problems with this stunt, bro, and like, just, he's one of the greatest magicians that ever, you know, was born. And like, you're gonna try to do something that he couldn't even do? No, and then you're gonna top of it, you try to up the ante by adding cement? Come on, bruh. No.
Too. And so everybody who was there began telling Joe, hey man, get out, don't do this now, this is a really bad idea, it's not worth it, the chain's too tight, that's a sign, don't do it, don't get back in. But Joe, after kind of collecting himself, told the group that he was totally fine, that it was really just the neck chain that was the only issue, and he demanded his staff put that chain back around his neck after they loosened it up, and then put him back in the coffin and fill it in. And so eventually his staff, taking cues from him, said, okay, and they got his neck chain readjusted, and they put him back in the coffin, they chained him back up again, they closed the lid, and once again he gave the signal that he was ready to start. And so a very apprehensive crowd watched as the dirt went back in, and after 3 feet of dirt were in the hole, the cement truck came over and poured 4 feet of wet cement on top of the dirt. And then after this hole had been completely filled in, the onlookers, which included Joe's 2 young sons and his parents, they kind of moved in and got right up against this grave and were looking straight down at the top, waiting for Joe to come out again. But as they're watching this hole and as they're filming this hole, all of the cement in the hole suddenly drops about a foot. What had happened?
Yep, I knew I read about it. I knew I seen it, cause the damn casket collapsed, bruh. I seen it and I read about it, bruh. I knew it.
This hole, all of the cement in the hole suddenly drops about a foot. What had happened was the nearly 15,000 pounds of dirt and wet cement sitting on top of this coffin had finally caused the lid to break, and in an instant, all of the dirt and cement poured into the coffin surrounding Joe completely. He was truly buried alive. Onlookers immediately jumped into action and did their best to try to dig Joe out, but it took them 30 minutes to finally reach him, and when they did, he was already dead. Joe had ironically died on the exact 64th anniversary of Houdini's death. After an investigation, it was determined that Joe had not tested the strength of his plastic coffin against the weight of the wet cement. He'd only tested it against dirt because that was the one he had done the year earlier. He had done it under dirt and it worked. Joe had also not taken into account that cement dries from the bottom up. So even if Joe had managed to get out of the coffin and make his way through the first 3 feet of dirt that was right on top of the coffin, he most likely would have been trapped under the hardened cement layer.
You realize that cement starts to harden first at the lower elevation, so it's going to be hard.
You mean it hardens at the lower part? I thought it started at the top.
No, it hardens at the lower.
No. In fact, I shouldn't even kid. This is very serious. This is no magic trick.
This was a doomed mission from the start, but because Joe was so confident in himself and his ability to do the stunt, no one stopped him.
He thought Houdini was one of the great escape artists, and he wanted to be better than Houdini. And he was close.
So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode,
That's just terrible, bro. Like, I really feel sorry for Joe's family, man. Like, oh man, bro. Like, it's just sometimes, bro. Like, some records and like some things in life is just not meant to be broken, bro. Like, real talk, because it's not worth it, bro. Like, one of the greatest people to ever do it couldn't even do this stunt, bro. And like we just need to leave it alone at this point, man. We just need to leave it alone at this point. I think Chris Angel, like, did it, I think, or something like that. But I can't remember. You know, like, that was so long ago. If he did, like, let me know down in the comment section, man. But like, yeah, man, it's just some things out here in life just it's not worth chasing, bro. Especially when it involves you physically doing something, and as far as, like, you know, a magic trick or going underwater or anything like that. Know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Just leave it alone and just let it be. You feel me? Like, let me know what you guys thought about this reaction, man. Like, how do you guys feel about what happened? Like, it's crazy, man. Like, again, like, rest in peace to Joe, amazing Joe. He was a great talent while he was here. Know what I'm saying? And we, like, greatly, like, you know, like, his fans are greatly missing him, I'm sure. Know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, hit that thumbs up button for your boy. Like, make sure you guys are tuned in when I drop another one on Monday at 11 p.m. And, like, get this video to 200 likes, man. And I'm definitely going to spin the block in SRT gang. I am out this thing, man. Let's get it.